Is Unwelcome a welcome horror change of pace? Let's find out now. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watcher Pass. Today I'm here to talk to you about Unwelcome, which is in theaters on March 10th, 2023. It is a British horror film brought to America by our friends at Wellgo USA. And my hot take is, look, I think you should pass on it. There was a lot that I really liked about it. I liked the practical effects and I liked the setting. But overall, the film had a really slow buildup. It had not really enough horror elements for a horror film that makes you kind of expect them. And it also had kind of a disappointing ending. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the film, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and go into that ending when I go into things I didn't like. So there will be spoilers in the ending section. If you don't want to know what happens in this film, I would turn it off then, but I will be pretty clear when that happens. I'll keep it vague before that, and then I will let you know when I get into the spoilers. So in Unwelcome, you have a couple, Jamie and Maya, who had a traumatic experience in the city. So they luckily are able to escape to the rural Irish countryside after this experience happens. I guess one of their aunts dies and leaves them a house in the rural countryside, which is convenient. So they leave the city and start a rural life. But when they get there, they find out that maybe there's a little bit more going on in this seemingly welcome town. And when they start having trouble with some of the townspeople, then the mystery really kind of takes off. So things I liked about this movie. The first, I liked the practical effects. Look, I'm a horror person that likes practical effects. This film had a pretty good use of practical effects, especially when this kind of mysterious thing from the woods starts to appear. I believe that those were also practical effects. It looked like it could have been puppetry or CG, but I think it was practical, and I really liked that they kind of committed to it. The second thing I really liked is the setting. Like, once they leave the urban environment and get into this rural Irish setting, it is a pretty beautiful place. It kind of has that sense of mystery that you are hoping for this story, and it just is this beautiful wooded secluded Irish I guess house, cottage, probably house, and so it really kind of helps to give you the feeling that this couple has, that feeling of wonder, but also that feeling of isolation. So that being said, things I didn't love as much about this film. The first, it's a pretty slow film. It takes a while to get going. Part of that is because they have to set up the whole urban aspect of it, which takes a little bit of time. And then when they get to the countryside, there is some like mystery, but nothing really happens for a while. The horror takes a while to get going. I think it's about 45 minutes in before you have like any sort of like horror elements. And even then, they are light, very, very light until way farther into the movie. The second thing I didn't love as much is kind of related. There's not really enough horror. There was not a ton of dread or scares in it. I mean, I know this film is supposed to be a horror movie, but there was not really a good sense of fear in this film. Like, you do have a mysterious thing, you do have some horrible things that happen, but there's never really that big of a sense of concern. And I'm not sure exactly why. I think there was really no kind of like dread or scares. And also, you kind of find out the mystery of what is going on pretty early on. So even though you don't know everything, you have a general sense. So that kind of blunts some of the fear and dread that you would get in a normal horror film about some sort of mysterious thing in the woods. And the last thing I didn't love as much is the ending. And this is where I will get into spoilers. Just roughly, I didn't love the end. I thought that it kind of pivoted very quickly and kind of changed the character of some of the characters. So I thought it kind of didn't really live up to what it was building for. So that being said, I will get into the ending now. If you don't want to know what happens in the film, Unwelcome is available in theaters on March 10th, 2023. So it's available now. You can check it out if you want to. And otherwise, I'm going to keep going. There will be spoilers. So in Unwelcome, you have Maya and Jamie who go out to the Irish countryside to escape this like urban attack that they had. And the urban attack just kind of felt completely random. Jamie and Maya were trying to have a kid. They finally find out they're pregnant, and Jamie goes out to celebrate. He gets like some prosecco from a local like corner market, and when he's there, he gets harassed by some people, and they just like harass him for no reason. He kind of provocates a little bit, but really not that much. Like, he just kind of like has some words with them, and then keeps going. And then when he gets back, I guess they followed him, and he didn't realize they followed him, and then they break into his house and they didn't realize that they broke in his house, and then they just beat him up for some reason and also attack Maya. So it escalated very quickly and also just didn't feel deserved. So the trauma that they experienced just kind of came out of nowhere. So they established this, but that didn't linger much. All of a sudden, they're just like, boom, we are now in the Irish countryside, and we just happen to get an inheritance from an aunt that was never mentioned before. So they resolved it pretty quickly. They went to the Irish countryside. And when they're there, the real mystery is that, the aunt was there, and I guess she would leave offerings for these creatures of the forest. They're called redcaps. They're like little kind of like gnome-ish creatures, like maybe like an imp crossed with a gnome. They, I guess, are supposed to protect people. They're a little mischievous, but I guess they protect, or they come to people who are in need, but I think they kind of strike bad bargains with them. So they will help you, but it's not really in your best interest. So we find out that Maya's aunt would leave offerings for them, like raw meat, liver, things like that. And Maya's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And then she doesn't, because she probably doesn't believe it, and also she's busy. She's got a kid. So you would think, okay, well, this is going to cause some trouble. Like there's going to be some sort of like harassment or something. They're going to want their offering, but really, there's nothing. There's no negative. They don't like attack her. They don't really do anything. You kind of hear some like laughter and some mysterious stuff, but eventually she does start leaving an offering, because one of the neighbors is like, I will do it for you. Like, I will leave the offerings. It's really important. And so eventually she just starts doing it. So I thought that was weird, because like you would expect if she's not leaving the offerings, there would be something like them like telling her to do it, or them like causing more mischief to encourage her to do these offerings. But that doesn't happen. One of the consequences of inheriting an old house is that they want to refurbish it. So they try to find a contractor. They can't find anyone in town except for one person named Whelan, who was able to start immediately. And they're like, great, let's get going. But when Whelan starts, he is a pretty bad contractor. His crew is all his family. They are disrespectful. They steal. They just do a horrible job. But I guess rather than fire them, they just, Jamie and Maya just kind of live with it. And the crew kind of just takes advantage of them until the oldest son, played by Kristian Nairn, gets like a attraction to Maya and like tries to attack her, tries to like sexually assault her out of nowhere. Like he's just basically like, you're nice to me and now I'm going to sexually assault you. And then that scene kind of ends. You don't really know what happens, but Maya comes back, and apparently what happened is while she was out there, the Redcaps, they were out in the woods. The Redcaps came and like attacked this son and like killed him. I guess to do her a favor. She didn't really say that she asked for help, but I think they did it anyways. And so after they killed him, they brought the head back to them, I guess as a gift, or just to like show them that they'd done it. I don't really know why. But after they got the head, they're like, okay, this isn't great. But Jamie and Maya don't like destroy it. I think they're kind of confused by it, but you would think they would just like bury it or something. They hold on to it for a little bit, like not a ton of time, but during this time, Whelan comes with his other kids, wondering where his son Owen was, the one that just kind of disappeared randomly. And the last place he was at their house. The couple tries to like hide it, but Whelan can either sense that something's going on or he just doesn't care. So he starts kind of like harassing them. And as Maya is trying to like escape and hide this head, it like falls out of her hands, and one of the daughters finds it and she's like, oh my gosh, like this is his head. So that leads to some more terror, as now Whelan and his family thinks that they killed Owen, and they start to kind of harass them more. So during this time, Maya goes into the woods to kind of ask for help from the Redcaps again. And this time she says she'll give them everything, which is never a good thing. Never a good thing to do. Because what we also found out is that Maya's aunt, who left offerings for the Redcaps, had previously made a deal with them saying that she would give them anything to save her husband. And they did. They saved their husband from an attack. And then eventually their baby disappeared. And the Redcaps, I guess, took the baby as payment for saving the husband. So they were kind of warned that this would happen, but Maya appears to be kind of in distress, have no options. So she makes a deal with the Redcaps. They come, they fight off Whelan and his kids. They kill them in pretty gory ways. They drag the bodies back, saying like feast. And these fights were interesting because I think it was all like puppet work. So these little like impish looking like 2 foot, 3 foot tall things that are killing these humans in like, I don't know, kind of clever ways, interesting ways at least. Sometimes brutal, but sometimes kind of silly. But in any event, the Redcaps help them out. They take them out. Also, at some point, the house was set on fire, and I guess the Redcaps also stopped the fire because it just kind of stopped. And I don't really remember anyone actually using a fire extinguisher or anything. So that happened. And then a little bit later, when Maya and Jamie are kind of like fixing the house, like trying to make some quick repairs to fix all the damage that the Whelan family did, their daughter also disappears. And Maya's like, oh, no, no, no. So she like goes into the woods to try to find her daughter. She can hear her daughter crying. She goes back to the Redcap home, gets in there, and when she's in there, she sees all the Redcaps in there, and they tell her like, no, like go away. And she sees her daughter, but she also sees her daughter being like, I don't know, not nursed, but like cared for by this like strange forest witch looking person. It's a person, but she's like decrepit and like kind of feral-ish. And Maya realizes that this is her like aunt's kid. Like this is the kid that was taken at a young age and apparently was raised by the Redcaps. And now I guess that kid or woman at this point wanted a child of her own. So now she has a child of her own. Maya doesn't like this. The Redcaps try to like fight her off, but Maya is not going to leave without her child. So she grabs a knife from one of the Redcaps and like threatens it. And all the other Redcaps are around her and like they probably could take her out, but they don't. And then Maya just like kills that Redcap, which you would think would probably cause the others to attack. They don't. And then Maya goes and like attacks her aunt's kid and like gouges her eyes out. Like it's a brutal, brutal death. I mean, she's trying to save her daughter, but like it was pretty brutal. And then once she does that, you would expect the Redcaps to like attack her because they just killed, either one of their family or like their leader. But they don't do that. They kind of like surround Maya. And then the next thing you know, you have Jamie coming back from the house. He had been, distracted during the whole like child kidnapping thing, so he didn't realize what was going on. He goes back to the house and he sees their daughter there. He's like, okay, that's weird. And he goes outside and he sees Maya like in the field with all the Redcaps dancing around her, kind of like she's their queen. And then she leans back and like pours a skull filled with blood on her. And then she screams and it starts like raining. And I guess the Redcaps maybe like think she's her mother now, or maybe she's like the leader of the Redcaps. Jamie sees all this and he yells, and then he kind of starts laughing, and it's raining and the sky is all of a sudden red for some reason. And I guess that's the movie. It's a little weird because like Maya seems to, in this instance, choose the Redcaps over her own family because she's hanging with the Redcaps. And Jamie has the kid. You would think that if Maya was gonna like do all this for her kid, she'd at least hold the kid while the Redcaps are like dancing around her. But no, Jamie's got the kid. Maya's got the Redcaps. It's raining. There's like a red sky. I guess maybe either they're going to live in harmony or she is now going to become like the leader of the Redcaps and that's her new family and like watch over Jamie and her daughter. I don't really know, but that's the ending of Unwelcome. So it kind of doesn't really feel like it comes together very well at the end. It was definitely a surprise. I will give it that, but it wasn't really one that felt earned or felt like fulfilling. So, so like what I probably would have rather had happen is like have something more sinister. Like I guess the Redcaps are maybe supposed to be like helpful, mischievous, so maybe they can't be more sinister. But if they were like doing things to the house to encourage offerings, and then maybe if they were like messing with the construction to cause some of the animosity, rather than just have these like contractors be terrible people, and then I don't know, at some point have them become more sinister and like attack the family. Just something to give you some more dread, because there really just wasn't a ton of dread in this, and the Redcaps just kind of were part of it, but didn't really feel like they were an integral part until the very end. So again, that's Unwelcome. It comes to theaters on March 10th, 2023. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.